All right, today we're diving deep into the absolute engines of the cosmos, that swirling chaos right at the edge of a black hole. For decades, we thought we had the blueprint figured out, but it turns out a powerful new idea is completely tearing up the old rulebook. So let's take a look at this new magnetic blueprint and see what it's telling us. You know, when you think black hole, your mind immediately goes to gravity, right? This unstoppable, all-consuming force. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the real power player, the thing responsible for the most brilliant and violent light shows in the universe, isn't gravity at all, but something else entirely? The whole story really unfolds right here, in the accretion disk. I mean, just look at it. It's this incredible whirlpool of matter spiraling towards its final moment. And in the process, it becomes this amazingly efficient cosmic engine, turning the raw force of gravity into pure light. The big question has always been, what really makes this engine tick? Okay, so to really get why this new idea is such a game changer, we first have to look at the original blueprint. This is the classic model that shaped how we saw black holes for like half a century. And back then, we thought it was all about gas. This is it, the Shakura-Sunyaev model from way back in 1973. For ages, this was the gold standard. It imagined the disk as this super thin, flat plate, kind of like an old vinyl record. And everything was being held up by the pressure from hot gas. And look, it worked for a while. It explained the basic light we were seeing. But to get matter to actually spiral in, it had to rely on this fudge factor for how sticky the gas was. And that little fudge factor was hiding some seriously big cracks in the whole theory. The problem was this gas-powered engine was just too weak. It was too tame. It just had no way to explain the most extreme, the most violent stuff that we were actually observing out there. It was like trying to use the blueprint for a go-kart to explain a rocket engine. It just didn't work. And that left astronomers with two massive nagging questions. First, how in the world do these things launch these colossal jets of plasma? Jets that can stretch for thousands of light years and travel at nearly the speed of light? The gas model had zero answers. And second, where were all these incredibly high-energy X-rays, what we call hard X-rays, coming from? That thin, gassy disk just wasn't nearly hot enough to produce them. So what was the missing piece of the puzzle? What kind of force could be powerful enough to launch those jets and to superheat plasma to literally billions of degrees? The answer, as it turns out, was magnetism. It was time for a complete magnetic revolution. We needed to throw out the old blueprint and start over, with a brand new force in charge. Now, what's really fascinating is that this entire cosmic shift boils down to one single number, plasma beta. You can think of it like a cosmic tug of war. It's just a simple ratio, gas pressure on one side, magnetic pressure on the other. And whichever one is bigger, well, that force gets to call all the shots. So this cosmic tug of war gives us two completely different realities. The old model, that was a high beta world. Gas pressure was king. It ran the show. And magnetic fields, they were just these weak, tangled things getting dragged along for the ride. But the new model completely flips the script. This is a low beta world. Here, magnetic pressure is the dominant force. The magnetic fields aren't passengers anymore. They are the drivers. They dictate the entire structure and behavior of the plasma. And this one upgrade to the blueprint, putting magnetism in charge, is what makes everything suddenly fall into place. It solves those huge cosmic mysteries, and it does it with this incredible elegance. This magnetic upgrade basically happens in 4 key steps. First, the magnetic fields make the disk inflate. Then, they turbocharge the flow of matter falling in. After that, they create a super hot corona. And in doing all that, they build the perfect foundation to launch those incredible jets. Let's walk through each one. First up, the disk inflates. In that old gas model, the disk was this thin, flat plate. But now, with these powerful magnetic fields pushing outward, they provide a ton of vertical support against gravity's pull. And this literally puffs the disk up from a skinny sheet into a big, thick, donut-shaped torus. Second, the whole process of accretion gets turbocharged. Remember that old fudge factor we needed to make stuff fall in? Yeah, we can throw that out. Magnetic fields create this incredibly powerful stress that is way more efficient at pulling momentum out of the gas, and that lets matter spiral into the black hole much, much faster. Okay, step 3, and this one is a huge deal. A corona is born. Inside this thick, chaotic magnetic disk, field lines get twisted and tangled up until, snap! They reconnect, and that releases a tremendous amount of energy.
This process heats up the thin plasma floating above the disk to over 1 billion degrees. And the superhot corona is the perfect explanation for those mysterious hard X-rays. So that's mystery number 1, solved. And that brings us to step 4. The jets finally get a foundation. These same strong, organized magnetic fields don't just heat things up, they act like a colossal cosmic launcher. They form this tightly coiled launch pad that can grab material and fling it out into space at nearly the speed of light, solving our second big mystery.
So, the theory is beautiful, right? It all fits together so nicely. But the real question is, does it actually match what we see in the real universe? Let's see how this new blueprint holds up when we actually point our telescopes at it.
And when you put the two blueprints side by side, it's not even a contest. The old model predicted a thin disk, the new magnetic model predicts a thick torus. We see a thick torus. The old model only explains soft X-rays, the new one perfectly explains the hard X-rays, and most importantly, where the old model had absolutely no way to create jets, the new magnetic model provides the perfect mechanism. In every single category, it just fits the data better.
And then came the ultimate test. For the first time in human history, the Event Horizon Telescope led us to the impossible, to actually take a picture of a black hole's shadow. So what did it find in all that swirling light? Well, the EHT saw pretty much exactly what the new magnetic blueprint predicted it would see. It found strong, organized magnetic fields wrapping around the event horizon. It saw a jet structure that looks exactly like it was launched by a magnetic engine. And here's the kicker. The computer models that best fit the actual photos all required low beta conditions. They all required magnetism to be in charge. You know, one of the lead researchers put it perfectly, and this quote really sums up the whole paradigm shift. Magnetic fields aren't just some secondary details, minor component we overlooked. They are the fundamental agent. They are the master architect building everything we see at the edge of a black hole. So we end up with this really provocative thought, right? We had to completely rethink and rewrite the rules for the most powerful engines in the entire universe, all because we finally started to appreciate the true power of magnetism. And it just makes you wonder, what other cosmic secrets have been hiding out there in plain sight, just waiting for us to see them?